that were asked prior to the workshop. First, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I know it's 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It may be after hours for other people at other parts of the world. If you ever do miss a session, just go on our YouTube channel, Career Innovations, all one word. You can actually take a look at our sessions, or if you're just curious about some of the topics that we actually talked about in the past, I definitely urge you to go out there and take a look at some of those videos. And I put the description with the questions that were asked, so you kind of have an idea of what the video is going to be about before you actually listen to it, so you won't waste your time listening to a video that may not relate to or actually speak to what you're going through at the time. You can ask questions one or two ways. You can raise your hand depending on how you logged in. If you entered an audio code, you definitely can raise your hand and speak your question. If you did not enter audio code, you can actually type your questions at the bottom in the chat box. Keep in mind, we are going to be covering pretty much a good amount of material today. I had some questions come in before the workshop, so if you didn't submit one, I will go ahead and type it now, so once I'm finished I can get your question first. So a lot of you probably signed up and said, who is Career Innovations? What do we do? Well, we are an executive search firm. We use referrals and we use our network to find top talent. So in a nutshell, we're a staffing and recruiting firm. I'm Bridget Back, and I'm the Director of Staffing and Recruiting with Career Innovations. I also am the founder of it. We launched in 2007, and we wanted to find ways to pretty much make that connection or bridge that gap between the employer and the job seeker. And unfortunately, we can't place every single person that comes across our desk. We know that. So that is why we offer the Q&A sessions. We want to give some type of resource to those that we might can't place for whatever reason. It may not be that you're not a good candidate. We just may not be working with the client that's requiring your skill set. One of my true passion is organizational development and change. I really truly believe an organizational culture starts with the company's core values. I also believe that's also the foundation for attracting and retaining talent. And you've all been at a place where you may love your job, but you may hate the company, or vice versa. So you want to be at a place that you can have that balance. Here are some of the services that we do offer. In addition to our training, we do resume writing and editing. We also put together career portfolios. We do career coaching, market research, compensation benchmarking, referral and retention workshops, and I love to start every session with a quote. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So if you don't have a plan in place in whatever you do, it doesn't even have to be a job search. Just keep in mind, if you don't have some type of plan in place on how you're going to get there, it's just wishful thinking. So I do like to start with a quote with each particular event or session that we have. Let's go ahead and move on. So one thing that I wanted to talk about is what's holding a lot of people back, and it's really not getting them to where they want to be. If you're on the line and you've been, looking for a job for weeks, whether it's been months or you may be going on a year or so, you want to look at the core of what's holding you back. And the first one I have in here, you don't have a plan. So sometimes when we have people come forward, and I work with many candidates in the past, many people just don't have a plan. And a plan is not, I'm going to apply to X amount of jobs a day. That's really what I hear. I have a set number of jobs I'm going to apply to every day, and they're going, 100% full force, just chucking away applying to jobs. That's not a plan. That's a activity that you're doing. That's something that can be part of a plan, but that's really not a plan. It's almost as if I'm going to just shoot my resume out to all these companies and see which one sticks. And I'll take, the offer from the highest bidder. And what happens, and you may think, or some people may think that, hey, that's okay, I'm just looking to get back working again. But what happens when you don't really think about what you want to do, where you want to work, and how you want to get about your professional development, you find yourself doing this again. That's what happens. You find yourself 2, 3, 4 years down the line looking for another job. Or you took a position where it really wasn't what you wanted to do, or you took a position with a company that may be in the process of going through a merger or acquisition, and you find yourself laid off again because you didn't do the research on the organization. That's happened. Hey, I got this job, I didn't even have it in a year, now I'm unemployed again. So that's why a plan is, not optional nowadays. It's a requirement, and it's critical for your job search. So you want to have some type of plan in place on what companies you're going to target, who the decision makers are, who are you going to reach out to, who do you want to market your resume, your solution letter to, and how you're going to get in front of those decision makers. It needs to be something that specific. Specific. It needs to be something that's specific on how you're going to actually do this versus I'm just going to apply to the next hottest thing that's out there on Career Builder or the next hottest thing that's out there on Indeed or LinkedIn. Okay? So the next one that I also see that a lot that are holding a lot of people back in their job search, and they're job board junkies. And it goes back to my first point. A lot of people are hiding behind their computer screen. Don't forget that you are the spokesperson of your personal brand. It's hard to overstate the impact of meeting people in the flesh. That pretty much is the best possible marketing ploy that you can actually develop and put out there and implement. Is meeting people face to face. No matter how technology has grown, no matter how, technology has advanced, nothing beats a back to the basic face-to-face meeting, or really making that physical contact with someone versus, online. And we as a culture and as a community, we've kind of moved towards everything being virtual. Now phones, everything has an app. Like they said, there's an app for that. Everything has an app. Everything's becoming so much moving towards being more mobile. And we really don't take the time to actually develop relationships. And it's very hard to develop meaningful relationships if you're hiding behind your computer screen. And there are a lot of people that are doing that. And we're not saying that you have to sit down and, buy dinner with someone every day, because, of course, that can get expensive, especially if you're not working, and I hear a lot of times, well, I don't have money to take someone out to lunch or dinner every day, or, and it doesn't have to be something as formal as that. It can be coffee. It can be, hey, can I talk to you on the phone? Don't mistake that you have to always meet up with someone. It can be, hey, can I get 5 minutes of your time to talk to you on the phone to build some type of rapport with the person? So that's what we're actually looking for when we're talking about, not being a job board junkie, hiding behind your computer screen, and actually make meaningful connections. So you want to have that face-to-face communication, even if it's by phone. For some reason, you may get a hold of someone that, maybe a VP or a director level decision maker that, you're right, they may not be able to go out to lunch, or they may not have the time to catch that coffee with you, but they definitely have a time to, have a 5-minute phone call. And you want to make sure that you're making yourself available and you're actually putting that option on the table. Many people aren't even asking, hey, can I get 5 minutes of your time? Or can I get 15 minutes of your time? And the thing is, people automatically take that answer, which in their head is a no. I would not ask the VP for 15 minutes. They already told themselves no. In reality, that's what it becomes. It becomes a no because you've already told yourself no. And, my business is basically based on talking to these decision makers. And I know I'm going to get the no's, but believe it or not, I get a lot of yeses too. If I didn't, I wouldn't be in business. So they're out there and they're willing to talk, but you have to ask. You got to reach out to them and don't hide behind your computer screen. The next one, being the jack of all trades, and everyone knows that cliche or that particular tagline, a jack of all trades, a master of none. So what I mean by a jack of all trades, you have no solution. And this goes for either how you're marketing yourself to employers. Your resume may be very chaotic. And what I mean by chaotic, it may that you're not having a laser focus on what you do. What is your skill set that you're trying to sell? And better yet, what is your solution? And I tell people that, your experience and your education can get you the interview. The solution is what gets you hired. I want to know that if I hire this person, they're going to bring value to my organization. Either they're going to save me time or they're going to make me money. So how are you going to be able to do that? So you want to make sure that you're providing a solution, and even though you may be able to do everything under the sun, I do everything under the sun. To be honest with you, when I first started Career Innovations, I had to do everything. I did the marketing, I did the SEO, for my website. I had to get the website built. I had to market the website. I had to learn IT. I had to learn web development. I had to learn a lot of things that a normal recruiter or organizational development employee would not have the skill set to do. But do I put that on my resume and say, hey, I know how to do all this stuff, but I'm really looking for a recruiter job, or I'm really looking for, a human resource job? No. That's something that I can actually talk about and elaborate on in an interview, but I'm definitely not going to make that the focal point of my resume. Because that's not the job I'm trying to get. I'm not trying to build websites. I'm not trying to be the marketing manager, even though I've wore all those hats and continue to. So you really want to make sure that you're having a laser focus on your resume. And you want to make sure that when you are putting together whatever marketing platform you're going to use, whether it's LinkedIn, it may be a resume, it may be some type of portfolio you're putting together, that you're showing some type of solution, how you can solve the problem they have. And I don't know if you have a chance, and you have my name on everything. If you look me up on Facebook, I actually shared an article that I put out to the public, so you don't have to be connected to me to actually review the article. It's about a young lady that was looking for a job, and she wanted to work for Airbnb. And if you're not familiar with Airbnb, it's kind of a it's a crowdsourcing site that people rent out their homes or rent out their rooms, for people that may be traveling. And, they got into a lot of controversy with the hotels because, they weren't paying, I guess, the hospitality tax or whatever the taxes that are involved in each particular state, because it was kind of like a site that, hey, anybody can get on there and say, I got a room that you can rent for 30 or 40 bucks. But it was very innovative. It's a startup that pretty much, tripled their revenue and grew out of control after they launched. And this particular person wanted to work there. It was their dream job. And guess what? Once they got hot, so did everybody else. Everybody else wanted to work there as well. And I put the article on there because she found a way to get in touch not only with the person that was the hiring manager, it was a marketing manager position, but she got in touch. She actually caught the eye of the VPs and the CEO. She was very creative with her approach. And come to find out, this young lady, she's actually from Dubai, and she moved to San Francisco and been in the U.S. ever since working. And she realized the need of having more people that offered this kind of room and board in Dubai. She saw there was a lack of there. She saw the profiles where there were over 1,000 people, allowing people to rent out their homes in New York or Los Angeles or other very popular travel destinations, but she saw that Dubai only had about 17 profiles, and I think some cities only had like 100. They were very low. So she saw that as a problem. She said, hey, why aren't we capturing this particular demographic? Dubai is, a popular place that people would like to go. Why aren't we capturing this particular demographic? And she put together a whole, she actually has a website. She made a virtual resume, and catch this. She took the format of Airbnb, how their layout is on their website. She actually duplicated it as as they kind of like the template of her resume. So when you went to her resume, it almost looked like you were looking at the Airbnb website. And in there, she actually did research and showed, hey, these are the amount of profiles in Dubai. This is the amount of people that actually travel to Dubai. There actually is a need, and there's a lack of people that are participating in the Airbnb in this area. Let me help you capture that particular demographic market. And she put in ways on how she could do that. She was originally from there. That was her native land. So she was putting together ways that she could capture that. And it was just so phenomenal that it actually took the CEO breath away. He couldn't believe that she put this all together. Keep in mind, she didn't have an interview. She didn't know anyone directly in the organization. She just liked the organization. She liked the way the company was actually structured, and she wanted to work there. And she did her homework and got herself in front of that decision maker. And it was just so big of her to do that now it was trending on Facebook. So now not only did the CEO get a whiff of it, hey, it goes through my news feed, and I'm sharing it with you guys. So that's how phenomenal that was when she actually found a way to be the solution for that company. So it came to a point where she could say, hey, I don't only want to work here, because guess what? So does the other 1,000 people that apply to this marketing position. They want to work here too. But now I'm coming to you with something they're not, a solution to a problem I researched that you have. That's how you do it. Next one. Marketing is not effective. In some cases, it doesn't even exist. You have no marketing plan. That's another thing that could be holding you back. In some cases, it may be that you may have a marketing plan, or you may have some type of marketing platforms in place, but either you're under marketing or under promoting yourself. You're either being careless with it, which means that that goes into, you may not have a good online image, or you may not have an image at all, or you even may be over promoting. There's some people out there that become spam, because they're spamming employers with their resume, or they're trying to link up with every single person that either looks like a recruiter or in HR. So they actually become a nuisance. So it's not that you may not be marketing. In some cases, it can be to the extreme that you're over promoting yourself. So you want to find that balance when you do put together a marketing plan. Think of the 4 or now 5 P's in marketing. You want to be able to know your price, your position, how you're going to promote yourself, and how you're going to get yourself to the market. So you want to look at those avenues, and when you put together a marketing plan, how do you plan to put yourself in front of decision makers in addition to your resume? Because everyone nowadays have a resume, and even if you do have a resume, is it effective? And that's another thing that you have to ask yourself. Not every single resume is an effective resume. You may be underselling yourself. It may be things in there, and I've talked to someone that, just by asking probing questions, I found out so many things that she could do and she was qualified for, but I didn't see it on her resume. And keep in mind, many employers aren't going to take the time out to decipher what you can and can't do. They just don't have the time to do that with every single person that applies. Now they have software in place that scans for keywords. Since the volume has gotten so high over the years, they have software that's called parsing software that actually scans resumes for keywords. And if you don't have an X amount of number of keywords in there, you don't even get looked by a human. A human doesn't even look at your resume. It goes right to the file, and they'll send you that candid automated thank you for applying. We found someone that can better meet our business needs, whatever the case may be, and it goes file in a file that they keep, that they might or might not look at, or sometimes it may even get deleted depending on the company. Because they don't want to use a lot of memory and bandwidth to store resumes that they're never going to look at, and in some cases never going to hire the people that submitted them. So you definitely want to also make sure that if you are marketing, is your marketing is it effective? Is it actually doing what it needs to do? And that goes down to, when you're marketing, are you tracking for results? And many people aren't doing that. You know, there's some people that you can call and they can tell you exactly what company they submitted their resume to, whom they submitted it to, and what day they did it. And there's others that you can call that they'll say, who is this? What job did I apply to? They don't know. They don't keep track. They're just applying to anything and hoping for a call. So I hope that if you are marketing, that you're actually tracking for results. And like one quote I use in several workshops is that you can't change what you don't measure. No, so you need to find out, are your marketing efforts effective? If not, what's not effective? What part of this plan do you need to change? If you find that applying online is not effective, and you've applied to 300 or 400 jobs, and you haven't got not one interview, you may want to take a look at that document that you're using to market yourself. There's a reason why you may not be getting callbacks. You may want to look at that. Or you may want to find another way to reach out to decision makers in addition to applying online. You know, hey, it may be, hey, I'm getting the interviews. I have some people that are on the other end. I apply to these jobs. I get the interviews, but I never hear anything back. Right there, you may have to tweak your interviewing. Is it something that you're doing in the interview that the employer might find that may not be conducive to their organization? You know, is your resume showing one thing, and then when you show up for the interview, is it displaying something else? Are you living up to this resume that you put together? I have some people that go out to get these professional resumes, and I'm saying it because I make them too. I actually edit and write resumes myself, but I also want to make sure the people I write it for can actually live up to them. And you have some people that go and pay a couple $100 to get it put together. When they get in the resume, they don't even know what's on it. They can't even pronounce some of the words they use in the resume. So the hiring manager already knows, oh, they didn't put it. They didn't do this. They didn't put this together, let alone did they do the actual task that they put in here. You know, so you definitely want to make sure you're doing that as well. So you want to make sure that if you are marketing, you definitely want to make sure that the marketing tools you're using are effective. And if you're not marketing, this is the time now to put together some type of marketing plan. The next one is your experience or skills are outdated. And don't take this to heart. Eventually, all of our skill sets are going to get outdated. Hey, if you live long enough, they will. Like I actually saw, I don't know if anyone ever looks at Alfred, I can't even think of his name. I think it's Alfred Hitchcock, one of his I watch Netflix, so hey, that's the only time I'm able to watch TV. So when I actually watch it, I look at the whole series and I look at everything back to back. So I was watching this one, and they said the worst thing that can happen to a person is outliving their talent. You know, and they were actually talking about an actor that was all washed up, and it was a particular series about an older guy. He did his run, became very successful. He actually was at the time kind of, you know, had his time. You have all people that had their time, had their fame, and this guy was actually putting on a play. And the older guy asked him, you know, to come over for dinner. And the guy was kind of, you know, I don't want to come over for dinner because I think that, you know, this guy's going to try to get an audition, you know, and he kind of told him he was all washed up. And I remember that quote that he said, that's the worst thing that can happen. You can outlive your skills. And at some point in time, we're all going to outlive what we can do, unless the only time we can actually make sure this doesn't happen is that we actively and proactively stay current with the trends, the technology, and what's going on, how the economy is moving, the things that are being used. And many people don't do that. And when I say many people don't do that, they're kind of, you know, when they get hired with a company, and I like I said, I've worked with people that they get hired in a company, they use the software or tools that are given to them, you know, so they're trained on that. If you're with a company, say you're with a smaller mid-sized company that may not get the latest and greatest, software, or the latest and greatest whatever that comes out, you may be stuck using a particular software and, according to the industry, that may be dated. And nothing against the company. They may not be able to afford to, get the latest version of everything. But at the end of the day, it's going to fall on your shoulders to stay current with what's going on. And what I say about that, I was working with a client that was with a company, and they were with a company for about 15 years or so. They got laid off. So when they got laid off and I was working with this client, they told me, hey, I haven't looked for a job for, 15 or so years, for over a decade. They didn't even know where to start. But the one thing I did see, that a lot of the skill sets that they had, especially when it came to technology, and it came, of course, their managerial skills and things like that were, all you can do is just gain experience for that. But a lot of the technology, particularly in their field, a lot of companies were now requiring, as either a preference, or it was a requirement to even get an interview, but they never been exposed to, because they work for this company that didn't use that. So they found out that even though they were applying to these jobs, they wanted someone that, hey, they could hit the ground running. So that particular skill set that they were looking for kind of held them back from getting jobs they normally would have got 15 years ago. And I tell people that what got you that job 10, 15 years ago may not get you that job today. Because what happens is your skills become outdated. So you want to make sure that even if you are currently working, and when you do become employed, if you have people on the line that are out of work, and even if you are working, make sure you're taking advantage of any programs that are allowing you to further your education, further your experience, or your skill set. And like someone said, every job is temporary. So you want to make sure that you're doing something that's not going to find that you're going to have outdated skills. And finally, I think this is the last one. No network. And this is actually the big one. That's why I wanted to make it the last one. Because at the end of the day, everything that falls below the network, and I hate to say it like that, it doesn't matter, but it kind of does. But at the end of the day, I've seen in instances that a lot of that stuff doesn't matter if you know the right people. And how funny that may sound, your network, I think, is almost the most important thing. I've seen people that had no resume, or a partial resume, or had no solution, or anything, or didn't even have a plan, get a job just because they knew someone that knew someone. I see it happen all the time. So I think that your network, to be honest with you, is probably going to be your strongest suit. And nothing, if you're doing all these things and nothing's falling through, you want to make sure that you have the right people in your network. And I tell people, when they actually go out and network, and a lot of people attend networking events, they go to a lot of networking events that have career fairs, which are fine, but they have job seeker networking events, and they'll have, a lot of those professional out of work networking events. And I ask people when they go to these events, well, I'm networking. And I said, why are you networking with other people that don't have a job just like you? How are they going to help you? At this point, and not to say nothing's wrong with that, but I had someone that went to a networking event, and they had about 200 people that turned out to it, but everybody there was out of work. So they're exchanging numbers and business cards, and, I thought that was, that was okay, but I tell people, not to say you can't get results. I never say never. It may be someone that knows someone that can help you out, but chances are that never happens. So I tell people, make sure if you're going to network and you're trying to build up your network, you're networking with people that can somehow align themselves with your professional goals. So you don't want to be in a whole room full of people that, hey, they're all unemployed. How are they going to help you out? You want to make sure that you're attending functions that people there, preferably people that are decision makers within organizations. And most of the time you can find these people at professional association or organizational meetings. That's where a lot of these people are at. And these are the people from everywhere from the CEOs down to the director levels, that a lot of these people are not only members of these organizations, they serve on their boards, so that they more likely are going to be at the meetings. So you want to make sure that you're actually networking with people that can eventually help you towards your professional goals. And not to say don't go to some of these events, but time to me is precious. I can't pay for it and I can't ever get it back. So if I'm going to go to an event, I got to make sure that, okay, does this event make sense? And if you can, find out who's going to be attending those events. Sometimes these places that you sign up for these events, they even let you know who signed up. So you can get an idea, okay, who's going to be there. And especially with association and professional events, more likely you're going to have people that are going to be already gainfully employed. More likely they're going to be in some type of leadership capacity or have some type of influence to people that are in leadership capacities. So you want to be able to rub elbows with people that can not only, goes back to giving you that referral, in some cases can omit everything I just talked about. I've had people that, just off of the, meeting with them, engaging with them, finding that they're a corporate fit, hey, don't even worry about it. Just apply online and shoot me your resume and I get it to the person that needs to get it. They fly past everything else I'm talking about just because they made a connection with someone that they believe in and confident that can do the job. So you definitely want to make sure that you're not downplaying your network, and a lot of people are, and they're not seeing the importance of having people in their network that can actually help them. This is my contact information. I know we're about 7:40. I like to leave time to answer questions, and I open the lines up for Q&A. And I also address some questions that were sent in earlier. My contact information is on this slide. You can reach me directly at email, my first initial last name at career-innovate.com. I can tell you that's probably the best way to reach me. Unfortunately, I'm not always at my desk waiting for the phone to ring, so the best place to reach me is my email. It does go to my phone, so even if I'm out, I know that I've got an email from you. Another way, if you want to have some type of one-on-one time and we can sit down and talk, best way is to also log on career-innovate.com. On the home page, you can actually schedule an appointment. So you can actually schedule an appointment and we can set up time to talk one-on-one. A question that was submitted was, are professional resume writers worth the expense? How do I get past the ATS systems? Okay, this question was submitted, and are professional resume writers worth the investment? Depends on what resume writer you get. Everyone out here nowadays claims they can write a resume, but it really depends on who you get, and actually if they're going to be able to implement the things that you would call accomplishments and solutions. If you can find someone that can definitely highlight those assets and what value you can bring to the organization, yes. You have some, if price is something that you're, because you can get resume writers to do your resume for $19.95, but is it effective? It goes back to that first slide. Is your marketing tools effective? So I think that, you're going to have to be willing to make some type of investment, and that goes with anything. It goes back to that old saying, you pay for what you get. So you have to be willing to make some type of investment. And there are ways, we do this as well. We can create resumes that are ATS friendly. ATS friendly websites, if you don't know the acronym, ATS is Applicant Tracking System, for those who may not know that. I put it in either a Word or in some cases a notepad. It's called a Word or a notepad format. Takes out all the fluff, no graphics, nothing that's going to I don't want to use the word distract, but nothing that's going to manipulate the parsing software in any case. Because some characters in particular versions of Word, and if you're using a Mac, can turn into something else when it's uploaded. So the best thing for ATS system is actually taking your resume, and I call it scrubbing it in a pad, which is called a notepad. A notepad uses just plain text. If you ever taken a Word document and put it in Notepad, you'll see what I'm talking about. Everything gets jumbled up sometimes because it takes out those extra codes and extra characters that normal ATS systems can't read. So you do want to make sure that you can do that, and that's something that can be done. We actually make sure we get not only a PDF or a Word document, but an ATS friendly version as well. Next question I did have that came in. I networked with the CEO on LinkedIn and he accepted my invite. What's the best approach to ask for a job? Okay, what's the best approach to ask for a job? Well, I can tell you this. The first thing a CEO does not want to hear is, can I get a job? Your best approach is to network with this person, find out what problem he has with this organization, and see how you can become a solution. And you can do that all without even asking him for a job. Or asking if, because at the end of the day, and this goes with people that ask HR all the time, is, what they're going to do is direct you to the website. Hey, you're looking for a job. Hey, have you checked out our website? That's their cop-out. They're going to direct you straight to the website. So you don't want to bury yourself under the bus by that be your first question or your first way that you're going to interact with a CEO. He didn't become a CEO, by just doing anything. So you want to make sure that you're going to come to him in a way that, you're either sharing ideas, you're being informative about not only his industry, but you can even give him insight on what his competitors are doing. Just like I told you about the young lady at Airbnb. First of all, her resume, she didn't think it would make it that far to the CEO. This was something that she was giving, directly to the hiring manager. In some cases, it may have been the recruiter. But what she did, she found a solution. She found that a particular demographic was not, being serviced with, with Airbnb. And she found, hey, I can, as a marketing manager, I can be your solution. I can go in there and get that business. And this is how. Not only she said she could do it, but this is how. So she found a problem. The problem was that, Airbnb was not prevalent in Dubai. So what are you going to do about it? This is my plan. This is how I can actually attract people to start using Airbnb as a way for tourists to come stay and visit this city. You'll get more tourists. Airbnb makes money. Dubai's economy grows. It's a win-win. So you have to find ways and find an approach on how you're going to direct this CEO in a way that omits asking for a job. And those are some of the ways I explained. Another one is, what is the best strategy to highlight all the keywords that ATS will recognize? The best way to do that, or a strategy you can use, which I've seen other people use, at the very bottom of the resume, they leave a couple lines blank. I always said blank, but it's pretty much they'll put all their stuff in their resume, and at the very bottom, they'll actually have a section which were just made for keywords, and they'll actually plug in all the keywords associated with their industry in that particular section. So they'll actually have a section just for keywords. And that's something that, that's made and developed for like an ATS friendly resume. That's something you may not use if you're putting together a resume that you're going to, hand to someone or email to someone where someone's, they are going to lay eyes on it. But if you're going to actually upload a resume and you know that software is going to be scanning for keywords, you can create a section in your resume. They're going to just be for keywords. And how do you find the keywords? You can actually go to any you can actually take the job description. I think it's a program called Wordle, and don't quote me on that. I have to look up to see if it still exists. But it's a program that you can put in all, you can pretty much take the whole job description, you paste it in this particular software, and it will extract words that are used X amount of times. You know, so most of the time, any words that are repeated over and over again, excluding, you know, I, can, you know, words like that, but excluding those words, those are usually the target words they're looking for. Anything under the requirements are going to be target words they're scanning for. So if the requirements have a particular certification, they're going to be scanning your resume for that certification. Hey, if you're in engineering and they need for you to have a PE license, they're going to be scanning for for those words or for that lingo. You know, in some cases, they also may be scanning for phrases. You know, depending on how they have it, have their actual software set up. Okay, yes, someone did say yes, Wordle.net still exists and it is a use for school. Thank you so much. So it does exist. I knew it was something out there that you can actually, it's called Wordle, WORDLE.net. So those on the line that didn't know that it does exist. I remember it was something out there that you can actually take a paragraph or take whatever text you want, put it in that software, and it actually scans it and extracts the phrases or the words that are used repeatedly. And usually those words that they scan, those are usually the keywords that particular parsing software is going to be searching for. And you can make a section in your resume dedicated just for that. Thank you so much. And I do urge you to connect with me online. Again, my name, I'm pretty much the only one out there, Bridget Baggett. If you type me on LinkedIn, I'm probably the first one that I am the first one that pops up. So definitely shoot me a connect. After this workshop, I don't see any more questions. If you have any, definitely type them in as I'm about to close this out and I answer them. Following this workshop, there is a survey. Please take the survey. Let me know how everything is, things that we can change, things that we can work on, topics you'd like us to discuss the next workshop. This summer, we're coming out with a platform for job seekers, and it's going to be called Career Innovators. I have a lot of people that are asking for personalized or niche workshops, because I know the Q&A session can be very, very general, because I'm getting questions from, you know, different people at different stages in their career. We have people that have been out of work. We have people that are looking for a career advancement. So I get so many different questions that sometimes someone may join the Q&A session. It may not be beneficial. So I've had some people ask me, hey, can you do a workshop just on this topic, or do a workshop just on that topic? So what we're doing, we're actually putting together a members only site. It's going to be called Career Innovators, and it's going to be like Be a Career Innovator. And this is not only for job seekers. This is for anyone that, you know, is gainfully employed or not, that wants to have professional development, because we're going to be addressing different things in career development, not just looking for a job. We're going to talk about how to keep a job, how to get a promotion, how to, you know, strategically align yourself with decision makers so you can actually climb that corporate ladder. So we're going to have different topics in there that just won't focus on people that are out of work. So we're going to be putting that together this summer. I'll make sure I email everyone if they want to sign up and have first dibs on a lot of things that we're going to put together. We're also going to be adding different free resources that are included with being a member, as far as career coaching and counseling, resume reviews. We're going to make it all inclusive. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully you can be a part of it. You don't have to be unemployed to be a part of the network. This is for people that are, you know, are unemployed, but also are going to be for people that are employed and want to figure out ways to either advance their career, you know, and make the best out of their working life. And I can tell you, if you're spending 8 to 10 hours at work, majority of your day is at work. So you want to make sure that you are maximizing that time. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Shoot me any questions via email if you have any. And again, thank you for joining me.